Tip number 5 is have a plan. Okay, so what do I mean? Well, one of the most important things for your mindset to go into Christmas and just enjoy it is to have a plan in place for January. I cannot stress this enough. A huge part of living a healthy, balanced lifestyle is to recognize the occasions where you do have to let the hair down and enjoy the times without worry or guilt, like birthdays, anniversaries, and yes, Christmas. You know, life is for living and we need to enjoy these events without having any stress or worry about them. Okay, that is what living a healthy, balanced lifestyle is all about. But if you go into these events and you have a plan in place and a marker in your head of when you're going to get back on track into a healthy routine and what that looks like, then that is the perfect mindset to have. Now, I'm going to show you in a minute my paid plan for January that you can sign up for, but regardless of whether you go with my plan, I really urge you to have some strategy for getting into a healthy routine in January. It just really helps you to relax over Christmas because you know you have January sorted. Okay, so I'm just going to give you the cornerstone of what any plan needs. Okay, the cornerstone of any plan needs 3 things. Needs 1, the right facts and strategy. 2, it needs the right mindset, that is extremely important. And 3, it needs the right criteria. So let me elaborate on each. Well, firstly, the right facts and strategy. When you are about to embark on any plan or a goal without the right facts or strategy, it does not matter how motivated you are, you will not get to your goal because you're following the wrong strategy or you have the incorrect information. It's just not going to get you to where you want to go. And the quickest way to find the right strategy is to find someone who's done what you want to do and simply copy them. As one of my heroes, Tony Robbins, I love him, says, success leaves clues. So essentially, you don't think you need to go and create a winning plan or strategy all by yourself. Simply copy what someone else has already done and done it well, and then you just follow what they've done. Okay? Number 2 is the right mindset. Now, this is where you cannot rely on anyone but yourself, really. When you are about to embark on a plan, you need to know what is driving you and what success looks like at the end. It's so important before you set any kind of plan in place. You need to be really self-aware of what is motivating you. As you can see from this diagram, this is basically a goal-setting pyramid, which I teach my graduates. And so if any of my graduates are watching tonight, they'll recognize this. And you can see that self-awareness is at the top of this goal-setting pyramid. So essentially, you need to know what really motivates you and what drives you. This may sound obvious, but it is a trap that we all fall into every day. So for example, you may say in January, let's say, I have a plan or a goal that I want to lose 5 pounds, right? And that's what you set as your goal, your plan. But if you dig a little deeper and you ask yourself, well, why? Why do I want to do this? You might come to the realization that it's not actually the 5 pounds you want to lose. You may actually just want to do that because you want to have more energy. And then when you ask why again, you scrape down another layer and you may find out that it may be that you want more energy because actually you want to have more energy to have with your children. Or maybe you want to, have more energy to be a better employee or a better whatever. So essentially, when you kind of scrape down all the layers, you realize what is the underlying motivation. So what started as what I call an external problem, the losing of the 5 pounds, ended up being a whole lot more. When you really understand what you want and what's motivating you, that is how you succeed in your plan. Now, I find this stage of setting a plan the most interesting in my personal and my professional life, and I have created ways and means to discover what my clients really want, and it's so effective. But my point is to, before setting out in whatever kind of healthy plan for January, take some time to really ask yourself why and find out what really motivates you before you make your plan. Okay? So there we go. So that is the right mindset. Now, number 3 is the right criteria. So what do I mean by this? Well, when you're about to undertake a plan or set a goal, it's important to set really clear guidelines or criteria before you embark on it. And the simpler, the better, really. So for example, there is literally no point in saying, I'm going to be really healthy next year without having clear criteria. Firstly, next year is just too long a time period, and healthy is far too vague. A much better guideline or plan or goal to say to yourself would be, for the first 2 weeks in January, I will have a protein-rich breakfast before I leave the house with only 2 passes. Okay? The criteria is clear. It has an exact time frame. You know what to do. You know when to do it. And it's achievable. You have planned for your inevitable slip-ups, as I call them, with your 2 passes. And that is really important. Does this in any way sound familiar, this plan? Why do you think I created the challenge, which was only 14 days long and just 10 minutes of exercise a day? Because it was clearly you know what to do. It has an exact time frame. It's achievable. It has all of those elements of a good plan. Now, my point is, whichever plan you follow should have a clear start and end point. It should be doable, and it should have clear criteria that is easily followed. So, look, regardless if your plan has these 3 factors or not, setting a plan is so important because psychologically, going into December, if you have a plan, the mere act of planning when and how to do something will free your mind from the burden of overthinking, and it will help you to enjoy your Christmas guilt-free, which, let's face it, that is what we want. These are the important times in our lives. You know, Christmas is such a special time. We do not want our minds to be stressed or worried or whatever about putting on weight or any of those things. Having a plan in place means that it frees your mind from the burden of worrying or overthinking. So putting that plan in place for January is so, so key. And then once that plan is made, you can relax, enjoy Christmas with family and friends because you have a plan of action. There is no need to fuss or stress out in December because all is sorted. Okay? So that is a really, really, really important tip. Now that leads me into telling you about my plan in January. And I'm just going to stop.